The Magistrates Association of Bedfordshire and Luton are celebrating 650 years of existence. We're here tonight to celebrate and to raise money for local charities. And I wonder what it's like being a magistrate in 2011.
We are celebrating the 650th anniversary of the founding of the magistracy. It was founded in 1361, and there aren't many organisations, particularly voluntary ones, that have continued for 650 years.
Whose idea was it to start the magistracy 650 years ago?
It was a law, an act was passed, it was a statute in 1361, statute for the justices of the peace, to keep the peace, and it's continued in that way right through nearly 7 centuries. Magistrates are volunteers. They do not get paid for what they do, which comes as a surprise to a lot of people. They are trained before they start, but we all receive training right the way through. Anytime we have anything new acts, new guidelines, all magistrates are kept up to date with training, and part of their voluntary commitment is to undergo training on a regular basis.
Jenny, tell me, what are the challenges of being chairman of the bench in Bedford?
Well, the challenges are, of course, we're volunteers, and to keep volunteers motivated. And we're having a huge cutback in our finances from the government, like all other people in public service. And we try to still maintain our same standards.
And are you busy at the moment?
We are busy. Our workload has fallen, and that's a national trend because the crime rate has fallen. So not so many people come to the court. Lots of out-of-court disposals like fixed penalties and cautioning and that sort of disposal.
So that's a good thing then?
It depends whether you're the victim of crime or not.
How has the process changed over the 650 years to become a magistrate?
Well, of course, many years ago you had to belong to the aristocracy, and women weren't appointed till about the 1920s, and only then they couldn't sit on certain matters that were considered to be upsetting to them, and they certainly had to wear hats until about 1960. Now we have a fair spread on the bench, and we're very lucky in Bedford to have a nice sort of broad spectrum of representatives from the ethnic minorities, which is very important. It's an equal society, and so I'm really pleased, and I think you'll see some of them here tonight. There's something to be encouraged.
Cynthia, I understand you live in Bedford.
I do. I live in Bedford, and I have made Bedford my home for quite some time now. I originate from Central America, a place called Belize, and I started out, I am a nurse midwife background, and I started out in Southampton, and then I came to Bedford, and I work now as a senior lecturer at the University of Bedfordshire, teaching midwifery.
And how did you become a magistrate?
You know, in the days when I was chosen to selected to become a magistrate, you didn't know who selected you. Somebody put forward my name, and then I got this letter, the famous letter that you get, and I really thought it was a hoax. So I did nothing about it. And then I got another one saying, can you please answer that letter?
Mark, I understand this event is going towards your charity. What is the connection, do you think, with the magistrates and your charity?
Well, I think the Community Foundation is a Bedfordshire-based charity which has strong links with the whole of society, from the top to the bottom, and I think this is an indication of how the local society can support our work, and that's why I think they are looking to give us some of the proceeds of this evening's event.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how the charity works?
Well, the foundation makes awards to local community groups, only in Bedfordshire, and we measure the impact that money has on society. And the money comes from people within Bedfordshire who want to invest something in the local community. So we take people's funds and distribute them to those in greatest need in the local area.
The image of the public is that magistrates are rather middle class, middle-aged and white. How true is that?
I think that's a very good point, and it's very difficult for a young person to give up the time if they're building a career or having a family to the voluntary sector per se. Although it's not too onerous, because we'd only want 13 days sitting a year, 26 half days is the minimum. It's still very difficult to juggle all the balls. So I think you're right, and demographically we get people who are retired who can come and who can give the time.
What have you enjoyed about being a magistrate?
Humbling experience, like being a midwife, humbling, and it is an honor. It is an honor. And you see people and you think, you know something? There but for the grace of God, go I.